Hello everybody and welcome to Clydebridge Station. I'll explain the unusual title of this video in a moment. But first we have to begin this video with some sad news. Now, those of you who follow me on Facebook will be well aware of the fact that my mum Mary passed away on the 15th of August in the Glenrothes Hospital. She was 82 and she had been ill for quite some time with urosepsis and a kidney infection which had resulted in a loss of mobility. She had been in hospital for 10 weeks beforehand and then was out at home for 7 weeks with carers visiting 4 times a day. But in the middle of July she was taken back into hospital and passed away at 7:25 AM on the 15th of August at the Glenrothes Hospital. And I just want to before I go any further, thank everybody who has expressed their condolences to me, and also to thank all the home carers who came in to tend to Mum, and all the staff at the Queen Margaret Hospital in Dunfermline, Victoria Hospital in Kirkcaldy, and the Glenrothes Hospital who looked after Mum, especially the nurses at Glenrothes during Mum's last 3 weeks with us. As I film this right now, her funeral took place this morning and was well attended, and thank you to everybody who was able to attend. Those who couldn't attend did still, however, express their condolences and wished me well, and I do appreciate everything. Mum herself was not into railways, although she recognised the Flying Scotsman and Mallard and an Intercity 125. But I always took Mum to the model railway. She was at Glenrothes and Cooper, which was mentioned in her eulogy this morning at the funeral, and she thoroughly enjoyed these visits, especially the level of detail, and she was very supportive of my model railway layout. Now, I must make a confession as we move on from remembering my mum. I had given some thought to moving Clydebridge Station and rebuilding it in what's now the spare room in my house. It's a 2-bedroom masonette upstairs. I'm in the front room and Mum's bedroom was the back bedroom. I had gave it some thought, but having spoken to a couple of people, Clydebridge Station is going to stay where it is, here in this shed. There's a lot of work already been done, and the only real major issue is to get the track cleaned, and a track cleaning carriage will be getting purchased in the future for that. But I've spent a lot of time in this layout. It's been going now for, this is its 4th year. I started this in January 2018, replacing an old layout Glasgow City, and therefore it's only right, having spoken to my Auntie Kathleen, that it stays in here. Mum, as I say, was very supportive of my efforts, and I intend to carry on with those efforts. So now we better get on to the title of this programme. Well, as you'll appreciate, with Mum's passing and having to get the funeral organised, I haven't had much time to get things done. But as I said in a couple of previous videos, my plan nowadays is not to do a hell of a lot in 1 month. I am working, I've got other things that I need to do as well at home and in the garden. But one job that I decided I would do would be the street corners here. And that's the title of this video. Corners. We're going to look at street corners, and we're going to look at what I've done on this street corner. And there's also one up by the NatWest Bank, which I'm going to make a small addition to during this programme. You'll immediately recognise the railings there, the pavement railings. They're from Scale Model Scenery, and links to that are below. Same with the litter bins from Scale Model Scenery. And the telephone boxes that you see there, the red telephone box, is in fact a Bachman product from Scooney Hobbies in Kirkcaldy. And it's a K8 type telephone box. Now you can't actually see that next bit I'm going to tell you about, but the box itself has actually detail on the inside of it. Around this time, what was then British Telecom was starting to replace the old red telephone boxes with a more modern design, one of which is up next to the memorial across from the insurance services building. But there were some remarkable survivors of these. And indeed, there was one a couple of streets away from me that survived well into the 1990s. There is no longer a telephone kiosk on that site. It has since been removed. But that's what you've got there. Corners are actually quite interesting. And I'm going to actually tell you about some of the things that I'm going to try and add to these corners over time. I'm thinking of maybe putting a bicycle chained up to the railings at one of the street corners, probably where the NatWest Bank is. I'm not going to bother with a litter bin on there because the pavement's too narrow then otherwise. But here's a couple other little ideas I'm going to give you. If you're doing streets on your railway layout and you want street corners. There's a coach company in Blackpool called Jackson's Coaches, and when we were actually staying in some accommodation on, I think it's called Hornby Road in Blackpool, you come down to the end at the crossroads with Coronation Street, and Jackson's used to have a kiosk, something like this, that was situated on the corner. Now, I've looked on Street View. I remember seeing it there in 2008, and then when I was next in Blackpool in 2012, it wasn't there. The little kiosk at Jackson's had a person would be sitting in it, mainly reading their paper, but had adverts up advertising some of the coach trips that they had that day. There's a lot of hotels on Hornby Road and further along on Palatine Road. And people would probably be going past that area, so it was a good idea by Jackson's to have one of these little kiosks that they could then use to advertise holidays and take bookings there and then for them. As I say, it was there in 2009 according to Street View, but by 2014 it had actually been removed. Not because the company had gone defunct, it still exists, but simply because I think there wasn't much demand from the booth, and obviously I don't know what sort of rates they paid the council for that spot, whether the council required it to be removed. But that's one idea for you. Another idea on street corners could actually be a tourist information map. Kirkcaldy used to have one of these in the town centre, next to what's now Cash Generator. It was situated on the wall, and you pressed a button for a location and it would light up. So if you pressed for the bus station, it would light up and show you where the bus station was. Again, removed in the early 1990s. On these days, with the coming of Google Maps and the internet, probably no need for one. But again, you could actually manufacture one. Scale Model Scenery also make these little holders for church notices. Now, they could be used as well, paint them red, and you could have them for community council information, put in a street corner, or again tourist information. You could also use them, interestingly enough, to put maybe put a bus operator's name on the top of one of them and make it look as though it's bus timetables that's in there. In fact, United Automobile Services used to do that well into the Arriva era. They actually had these at certain places in their territory. Again, it's another idea for you. And what about a bike rack? Well, again, the street corner, possibly. Bike racks could be anywhere, but street corners are funny things. So, yeah, you could put a bike rack at a street corner. Now, while I'm here, and we're on about street corners, this building I'm not at all happy with. You can see there, if I put it that way, it stretches out. If I put it that way, it's rubbish. So what I'm planning to do is get rid of this eventually, and I'm going to build something that will be about that come out from here to here and go along a bit. Probably the width of this section of pavement. And what I'm planning to do is to make that into a little Granada TV rental shop. Again, it's something that's not really modelled, and for young people watching this right now, they'll probably be alien to television rentals and that, and wonder what the hell it's all about. But again, I've got a link from the website Transdiffusion, and I'll put that in the description below, and it's done by a gentleman called Glenn Aylett. And Glenn, if you are watching, I believe you might also be a railway enthusiast, so let me know if you are. But that's certainly what I'm going to be planning to do, and there'll be a full video on that as to the sort of walling I'm going to use for it. I think I've got some spare sheets of walling from when I built the rugby union ground, so I'll just use that. I've got existing resources from Scale Model Scenery. I'll just have to try and get some signs printed up with Granada TV rental on it, and then we'll start the making of that. I have a wee bit of an idea in my head of how I want to do it, but it'll actually be quite an appropriate thing to do, having had the Quadrant Park nightclub scratch built by myself there. The other corner having something else scratch built, but this is definitely going to go eventually. And as I say, we'll make a video showing you my attempt to build a Granada TV rental shop and see if I make any mistakes. Anyway, let's go along to the other corner now. And so we're along at this corner here with the NatWest Bank, and again, Kate, telephone box, litter bin and railing. What I'm going to be doing here is putting another railing in, and my plan is that there'll be a gap in between here, and this railing will come all the way around and probably up to here, so I'm going to have to order more railings. The reason for that is there's no pavement here, but at the same time I don't want to have railings the whole way up, because it'd be a sort of claustrophobic feel to things, and that's not what I want. So that railing will probably go there, and then there'll be another one will go round about there, and then another one will go to there. And that'll pretty much be it, I would imagine, for railings. One on here, maybe put a small rail in here and one here, but then we'll just leave it at that. The railings themselves have been painted using, not an acrylic paint, but they've just been painted using another style of paint. But I would recommend getting acrylic silver from likes of Ryman's or any art shop if you are going to buy these railings from Scale Model Scenery. It does give us, the way I've painted it, does give a sort of rustic effect, however. The railings themselves, by the way, are actually to specifications laid down by the government in the 1980s, so they do match any sort of era. And there are two different types of railings in use here in Cardenden. One has the gap at the top of the railing, which you can see there. The other one, the actual rails themselves go right the way up to the top, and there's no little gap at the top of the railing. Either or is satisfactory indeed. The walkway down from Cardenden Station to Station Road, on one side of the road the railings do have the gap, the other side they don't. You can mix and match, believe me. This is probably the ideal spot for me putting a couple of the Scale Model Scenery bikes, line them against the railings, and as I say, just it's another idea for people that can actually do that, and I say that's how it will look eventually. Now there's going to be another thing getting done in the future before I disappear for the from this video. These lanterns here are going to get removed eventually, and I may need to scrape the bases off. Dylan Sanderson was making a live build on Wednesday of depot lanterns on Wednesday the 1st of September. The link is in the description below, and I'll also put the link in the top right hand corner for you. And what you can do with these is, these new lanterns, they've got two different types. So at the top, so you can either have a 1960s feel or a late 80s, early 90s style floodlight. And Dylan said that for my layout, the floodlight version will be the better one. So it means that these are going to go. This one might stay, it's in your piece, but the ladders in these are absolute crap, you can see they just keep coming off. And if I can do my best here, I might be able to get these ones out as well. But definitely I'm going to try 2 first in here just to see what they're like. And if I'm happy with them, I'll order more. So that's going to be another change that will be happening at some point in the future. And then of course we have to finish off with the rail cleaning coach as well. That'll be coming up at some point in the future as well. So it's been a rather strange time for me. Now both my parents have gone, but at the same time I've celebrated Mum's life as well, and I've stayed absolutely positive, and I do want to thank everybody for their support. It is much appreciated. In return, however, before I go, let's tell you about a few folk I'd like you to actually go and check out. At Mum's funeral today, we played a song at the start by Dominic Kirwan. His son Baz Kirwan is on Instagram, and I believe it's Baz Kirwan, but you can certainly check it out. Give him a check out, please. Also on Instagram, if you could check out a man who you've probably heard of, Gaz Beadle. He was actually on Geordie's show, and he's actually sent me a message on Instagram offering his condolences as well. And Gaz, please get in touch with me on Instagram so we can arrange a date for me to come and beat you at over 36 holes at the Adventure Golf Island Crazy Golf in Dunfermline. I reckon I could beat you at that, no bother. Gary Beadle's a keen golfer, you see. I couldn't hit a golf ball on the old course to save myself. Moving on to Twitter, if you could check out the Newcastle Falcons Rugby Union Club, they're at Falcons Rugby, and at Newcastle Ravens is Newcastle's other very successful rugby union club. Also check out and Nick Mullins, rugby union commentator on BT Sport. If you could give him a check out please as well. And at Ugo Monye, Question of Sport presenter, ex-Harlequins rugby union player and BT Sport pundit. And we'll finish off with the layouts, of course. West Blyth MPD, set in the town of Blyth, where I've got an uncle. Everard Junction and Dean Park Station, both of them on YouTube. Also, when you're actually checking around YouTube, go and have a check of the Cooper Model Railway Club, who have their own channel. They're also on Facebook as well. And Scottish Railway Modelers is on Facebook, so if you could please give them a check out. And I'll lastly give a shout out to Townhill Junction, set in Fife, but in the early privatisation era. So, Andrew Wedge has got the baseboards finished. He's hoping to do a video soon. So check all those layouts, please. Well, that really is it. I'm not going to be doing monthly updates as such from now on. I'll just do a video once I've got a bit done and let you have a look at it and see what the progress is. Some updates might be sort of monthly, but I'll probably start tending to call them layout updates as opposed to monthly updates. But I'll try and post every 5 or 6 weeks if I can. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your layouts and please take care of yourselves and stay safe, won't you? See you soon. Bye bye for now.